Yep, this is another Lego set here.
Have you used that in a film? Hey everybody, Portable Trevor here, and today's guest is something I don't think I'll have like anything else on my lineup for guests, and that is a Lego animator, and that is exactly what my buddy Adam Nies is. What's up, Adam?
What's up? It's good to be here. Thanks for
Yeah,
having
dude. So uh, Adam's not just like a normal Lego animator. He's not just like a dude that makes Lego animations in his mom's basement. He's actually made stuff for Lego Official, and he's just an official dude. He's a fantastic filmmaker, and he's a good friend of mine. We've been friends since college, and I actually love the way that we met. So one day I was at school and I went to talk to a professor, and Adam was working there, and I saw this huge Star Wars poster in his office, and it was Empire Strikes Back, and I peeked my head in. Oh yeah, it's right there. Holy crap! So I peeked my head in, and I was like, "Hey man, nice poster," and that was gonna be it for me. So I was like, "Hey man, nice poster," and I like left, and then Adam went, "It's signed by Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher," and I went, and I like came back and I was like, "Really? Can I see?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, come in." And then we just nerded out for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, yep. Dude, that's like one of my prized possessions. I got it signed by them at a convention and I've just held on to it. So the fact that I have Carrie Fisher's signature too after, that she's passed is a big deal. So it's like my favorite thing that I own. One of the favorite Star Wars things that I own for sure.
Nice. What's your favorite Star Wars thing then?
Oh, I don't know. I've got a lot of like random collectibles and nerdy stuff. I've got a Stormtrooper helmet that I've had for ages. I think that's probably one of my favorites, but
That
lots
one's pretty cool.
of course, as you can see behind me, lots of Legos and toys and action figures, stuff like that. So I just never stopped buying it. But yeah.
Nice. And just a quick disclaimer, or I don't even know if that would be the right word, but if you're not into nerdy stuff or, really into pop culture, this live stream is probably not going to be for you. Like as me and Adam, every time we hang out, we geek out over stuff. We talk about what's going on in the world of culture and just geekness, and that's just what we do. So if that's not your thing, I hope we're not going to bore you for the next 2 hours.
Dude, I'm ready to nerd out.
Heck yeah, man. So I think the main reason a lot of people might click on this if, they're not friends with me or you is they see the fact that you're a Lego animator. So
Yeah.
Before we talk about that, I want to get into why I think that you're a good Lego animator. And it's the fact that I think you're first and foremost a filmmaker. Like you would, if you're introducing yourself to people, you're probably going to say, "Hi, I'm Adam. I'm a filmmaker."
Right.
You
Yeah.
probably don't go around saying, "I'm a Lego animator." So let's talk about that. Like, what got you into filmmaking?
Well, it's funny enough because all the stuff that I've done has kind of fed off of each other, and I finally found myself here doing Lego stuff, and never expected to be making like official commercials and content for them. That was never my goal. It was never something that I was trying to do until probably the last few years. But I found myself here. I'm happy to be making this content. So I started making videos when I was a kid, and just I loved watching movies and animated movies and just Disney movies, anything. I loved it. And one of the first stop motion things I watched was Wallace and Gromit. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that, but it's this old British TV show with this guy and his dog, and they go on adventures. And then I also, as a kid, watched a lot of they're called brick films. People have been making movies with Lego for a long time, many, many years, and they take figures and sets, and they'll just tell their own stories, and they're real imaginative. And I grew up watching that. Went to college, started getting more into film, and I was, studying cinematography and directing, and decided that's what I wanted to do. Went to college to study film, and when I was there was a film festival at my college, and I thought, no one's ever done a stop motion thing for this college film festival. Let me try it. I watched all these growing up as a kid. It would be fun. I've still got a lot of Lego. And I made one in like a weekend and spent many days, long hours animating, and submitted it. And I actually won. And so I won Best Directing and a few other awards, and I was really happy with it. And that kind of making that film kind of kickstarted my current interest in doing it more professionally. And I've been doing it as a hobby and kind of growing my skills and everything. And yeah, just started to do it more and more, and it's led me to doing official Lego content. So
That's awesome. And to backtrack a little bit, so the Lego film that you made for the festival, you actually had some friends tell you like maybe you shouldn't do this. It kind of discouraged you, right?
Yeah. So a couple of my buddies, you know, film classes and students and all that. One of my friends I was telling him what I was going to do. Yeah, I'm going to make a Lego film and put it into this film festival. And he was like, you know, he's looking out for me. He wants me to do well, but he was like, dude, don't waste your time. It's going to take so long. You're going to be so bored and tired of it. And, you know, you're wasting your time with it. And I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. And I ended up beating his film. You know, we're good friends still, of course, but I just thought it was funny that, you know, he discouraged me from making it, kind of lit a fire under me a little bit to make it even better. So I look back at that old film and I kind of cringe, but you know, I've kind of come a long way since college and that, but it's fun to remember that.
That's awesome. So Adam, you remember live DVD commentary videos?
I do.
So would you mind doing that with the film that you won with?
Sure.
So it's called The Painter, and I have it pulled up right here. And yeah, so
I'm gonna cringe so hard.
No, dude, I still like it. So apologies. I know this is super unprofessional, but I don't have a lot of money right now, so I'm using StreamYard. It's free. I love it for what it is, but the audio quality is awful with video playback. So like DVD commentary, we're just gonna not have audio and just listen to the soothing voice of Adam Nies. All right, here we go. This is The Painter.
Okay. Yeah, so this was the first stop motion thing I ever made, and I put a lot of work into it. It's definitely, it shows to be the first thing that I ever made. There we go.
There's Pepper.
Pepper.
Yeah.
There you go.
A little cameo if anyone's ever played Lego Island.
Dude, those games are my jam.
I know. So why did you pick this guy? Like, how long did you take? How much time did you take to design him?
So I picked him really because I could use him to make a lot of facial expressions. If you take the minifigure heads and you swap them out, you can give them a lot of different expressions. And his kind of face was the default face that I had the most freedom with. So, yeah, he's here. He's painting a sign. He's real proud of his work. He thinks he's done. But then we got some bird poop on there.
What?
So this is really like my idea for this. I don't know where I came up with this, but I was watching a lot of Pixar shorts, like the ones they show before the movies. And I love the style, how, this is just a kind of a wordless, fun visual gag. And so this bird keeps pooping on his sign. He's clearly frustrated. But yeah, this was a lot of fun to make. And
for a first even film, I think this is impressive. Like, the framing is incredible. I mean, I know this wasn't your first film, but like a Lego film, it's pretty dang good. This is my favorite part for the way you animated this. It was just so smooth.
Thank you. Yeah, this guy's losing his mind though. He's
oh man, he's having a bad day at work.
This is a really bad day. I would hate to be him, but it drives him to the edge.
Oh no, he pulled out a gun.
Will he do it?
No, he's got a heart, right?
He's thinking about it though, if you want to watch this is on my YouTube channel. There's a lot of sound effects and music here. There's some funny.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin it, but yeah, I think that was a great film, dude. Like,
thank you.
It's fun.
It's fun to look back on it, even though it's my first thing. It's fun to look back on it.
Yeah, and so reflecting back on that, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm really happy for what it is. I think I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, how did this turn out so well, being your first one? And really, it was just, at that point in college, I had been taking a lot of classes and watching a lot of tutorials, and I spent a lot of time on YouTube learning how to do this stuff. Even before I like set up the set to shoot it. So I had a bit of a head start, I would say, just in my knowledge and filmmaking experience up to that point. So that really helped me to make that the best I could at the time. But it definitely doesn't hold up to my more recent work. So, but
Right.
that's just a personal thing. When I watch old stuff, it's hard not to compare it to your most recent thing. But
Absolutely. And so yeah, let's just jump ahead to on the timeline of where you are. And so this one's my personal favorite of yours. This is Lando's Deal. And
yeah,
so again, we'll do this one's about 7 minutes. I don't want to play the whole thing. We'll kind of skip around.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, totally. Just again, live DVD commentary from Adam Nies.
Yeah. I'll set this one up. So after I finished that film, I had done a few practice animations and shorts after that, and I jumped my quality up. So there's a huge quality jump here. This was a film. I love Star Wars. Obviously, we talked about that earlier, but
Hmm.
I've always wanted to make a Star Wars film, and you know, I don't think that's going to happen for me anytime soon. I'd love to direct a Star Wars movie at some point in my life, but this was as close as I could get. And so yeah, this is Lando's Deal.
Yeah. So also unprofessional side, we especially can't play the audio for this because it has Star Wars music.
It does have
So
Star Wars
yeah,
music.
here's Lando's Deal. Cool Ant Bandit logo.
Yeah, there's my logo, Ant Bandit. That's my YouTube channel.
Whoa, lens flares.
This is a huge step up. So
And also, you made this before Solo.
I did that. So I made this because Lando is really like one of my favorite characters, and I always thought he never got enough screen time. So this was like a celebrated character that I wanted to showcase, and I made it
Mhm.
right before Solo came out, and this is kind of an origin story of sorts for Lando, and it's before he meets Han Solo, before he meets Chewbacca, and he just kind of goes in this cantina and things go wrong, and I won't spoil it, but I was really hoping that the continuity would travel over to Solo, like because this in my head canon happens before the movie Solo for certain reasons, but it actually
Mhm.
kind of does. It actually still fits with the timeline, sort of. It's imaginary, but it's fun to think of it that way as an official piece of quote unquote canon.
Yeah, and I know we don't have audio right now, but the guy that voiced Lando killed it. Like he sounds just like him. Who was that?
So I met this guy on YouTube named Anthony Sevens. He's a really great voiceover artist, and he does all these awesome voices, Lando being one of them. And I sent him a message, tell him I loved his impression, and got him to voice Lando for this. But he does Batman and Optimus Prime and all these great characters. So I just reached out to him and said, "Hey, I want you in this." So
Nice. And Kyle Gazak is the bad guy in this, right?
no, actually, Anthony Sevens voices both of the bad guy, the metal-faced dude in the helmet, and Lando.
Oh,
So,
gotcha.
but Kyle is in this. He does play some of the aliens. He plays the background, like cantina characters.
Nice. And let's skip ahead a little bit. So they play a card game, it goes wrong, and then they get into this epic battle. And this is where Adam's animation skills really shine. And it'd be way cooler with sound effects, but it's just like, whoa, look at all this stuff going on. And Adam, you had a really unique way of like lighting this too. How did you do that?
So lots of tiny LEDs, and one fun thing about animation is that lighting a scene is really no different than lighting real people. So if you have any experience shooting or lighting, interviews or like film, normal cinematography rules still apply. So yeah, lots of LEDs and different. I've used bounce boards and mirrors to kind of hit my scene just right. So um, yeah, just lots of fun. Lots
Oh
of Lego
yeah.
fun.
And then the metal face guy faces off with Lando. It's also super epic.
It out. Yep.
So how do you choreograph a fight with something that, can't listen to you? You have to pretty much do it all on your own with your fingers.
Well, funny enough, oh, this is the big
I
reveal.
also don't want to reveal it, honestly.
This is,
Guys should go watch Lando's deal, because this reveal is,
yes.
I would say, the reveal in The Force
Yeah.
Awakens.
This is the fun reveal. This is what we won't spoil. So go to my channel and we'll finish that. But choreography, I mean, it's really interesting working with Lego figures because, I think it's fun to, they only have so many points of movement. Like they can't move and articulate like we can as people. So it's fun to try and kind of figure out how to mimic that with the Lego figures. I think that's really fun. But honestly, when I'm thinking about blocking, sometimes I'll film myself or just act out the movements to try and like figure out what that needs to look like. And so, yeah, I'll be like standing up in my office, just doing something goofy and, okay, so my right foot needs to be here as my left hand is doing that, stuff like that. So, but it is a lot of pressure because, as a normal director, you're directing the actors and, certain elements, but you only have a certain amount of control. The actor can still do whatever they want. But for me, I'm controlling the actors, the lighting, literally everything. So it's a control freak's, best dream, but it can also be difficult sometimes because you have so much to watch, So every character is under my control, and that's a lot of fun, but sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll show one more thing, and then it'll go back to us just talking. But this is the behind the scenes for Lando's deal. So again, no audio, but we have the guy that made it right here, so he can walk us through what's going on. And I feel like a lot of people haven't seen what goes into making these. Like it feels like, it's obviously somebody using their hands, but I feel like a lot seen what goes into making a brick film. So I find this fascinating.
Dude, I mean, behind the scenes is how I got into making this stuff, just watching other people. So that's always been valuable for me. But yeah, like you can see, I mean, it's really long and boring, animating, but you kind of get into this Zen state, where you're.
I like the Oreos in the shot.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
You got to have some Oreos.
Exactly. It's the fuel right there. But yeah, one of the things I love too about Legos is just, when you look at a set like this, the scale, because most people have seen Legos, they know how large the stuff is. And so the larger you get and the more detailed your sets get, the more impressive it is, because anyone watching can look at it and say, oh, I know exactly what that would look like if it were in front of me, So yeah, here's me messing with lasers, doing some lighting for the bad guys.
And I love that in the spirit of the classic Star Wars films and even the modern ones, you do a lot of practical effects as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that's what makes Star Wars great. Is I mean they focus on using all that. I love VFX, and I work with some awesome visual effects guys who help me out with that because that's not my strong suit. But anything that can be done practical is always better. There's Kyle right there. This is one of the shots.
And this is how you got the flying, like you actually use a green screen.
Yeah, there's a couple composited elements, the ship being the main one. Yeah, some of these sets obviously can't build all of them. Building big sets, of course, costs way more money. So this is
how they composited the visual effects.
Yep, there's the composite. Not
so impressive.
Yeah, this was I shot the elements, and my guy Galen did all the visual effects here.
God, it's so fascinating.
Yeah, lots of work that goes into that. So I'm lucky to have some really talented friends who are better at it than me.
And Mr. Andrew Pelock did the what did he do?
He did the electrical effects, so that kind of like 80s style electricity that shocks them.
Oh, that's so cool. But yeah, man, super rad stuff. Yeah, like what do you think what was your biggest takeaway from making that film?
Oh, honestly, just every film I do, I try to focus on one thing that I can do to improve, and learn as much as possible about that. And for that, for me, was just kind of overall like testing every limit that I could, go to. What's the best lighting I can do? What's the best character animation I can do? Visual effects. Like I tried to do as best I could at the time, to really show off. Here I am. What skills do I have? What can I do? And thankfully, that specific short, I was able to use that to pitch to Lego and some marketing agencies to pitch my work as an animator and director, and they liked it enough, that short enough, to hire me to do some official Lego Star Wars stuff. So that was the biggest jump or the biggest opportunities that short led to, that was the short responsible for.
What was
Taking
your reaction when you read that email?
Oh man, it was just, I was blown away. I mean, as a fan of this stuff, and obviously a huge nerd, it's a big honor to be able to actually work on official content for Star Wars and Lego. And of course, the huge benefit is that they would send me the sets early. So for all the projects I do, I get to get an early look at unreleased Lego sets, which is really fun. So I had, I think you think you can see it, this Rebel blockade runner was the biggest one I've gotten yet, and I got that months before it was even announced. So I was very happy to be one of the few people who had it before it was released. So.
Oh, it's so rad. And that's the very first ship you see in the Star Wars universe, right?
It is, yeah. That's the Leia's blockade runner up there. So that was used in a short that I did called Escape from Scarif, and that was the first one that I did for Lego. And it's kind of a retelling as if like a kid's imagining an iconic Star Wars scene from Rogue One, and that was one of two Star Wars ones that I did.
Dude, that's so rad. Like it feels like you're living the dream and you've been chasing after it and you finally got it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
whenever you got those sets, did you immediately go to work or did you have to wait a little bit and like figure out what you want to do?
Well, there's a lot of pre-production that happens. So stop motion, of course, is not is not the quickest form of filmmaking.
Really? I would have never known.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, it takes many, many weeks to produce one of these. So lots of planning, of course, working with Lego. There's a lot of moving pieces and producers that have to get their approval on things. So production starts really early, and usually for larger projects, I have between 1 to 2 months ish to produce the shorts that I've done, which is the production schedule always varies depending on the scale. I've done shorts. Just last week, I did one where I had about 5 or 6 days to complete it. So that was a really short turnaround for a social media video, but
Was that just 5 days of no sleep?
I only stayed up late a couple nights, so I was able to. I'm really bad about working late in the night. So I was like, I can't do that this time. I'm going to work in the afternoon and the morning and get up like a responsible adult. But yeah, it changes for every project. So usually by the time I get the sets to shoot with, I've already done scripts and animatics and storyboards and all the different pre-production elements that I need to get approved before I can start animating.
Dude, that's so rad. And you've also done you did a Barnes and Noble ad for Harry Potter.
I did.
What was that like?
Dude, that was awesome. So last year, that was one of the biggest ones. That probably was the biggest video I did last year. It was a short ad for the new Lego Harry Potter sets coming out of Barnes and Noble, and that was amazing. Just because it's another really nerdy fandom I get to participate in. I guess I even though I'm not making the movies, it feels like, oh, I'm participating in this. I'm contributing. Yeah, but it was awesome. I got to do lots of. It was lots of miniature like vignettes of scenes from the Harry Potter movies recreated in Lego. And so you can watch that one on my YouTube channel too. I have it linked there.
Yeah, totally. I'll put a link below at some point in this video. So what intrigues you so much about Lego? So for those of you that don't know, I actually shot a documentary about Adam a few weeks ago. Still editing it. Just quarantine has messed up a lot of things on my schedule. But I remember during this, I asked you like, "What's so great about Lego? What's so magical about it to you?" And
Yeah.
you gave me a great answer, and I'd love to hear it again, and for everyone to hear on the stream.
I'm trying to remember exactly what I said so I can repeat.
No,
it.
dude, just say what your heart wants.
What do I love about Lego? I mean, to me, it's, Legos are cool and they're always going to be cool. Like, I've loved Lego since I was a kid. And I think many people agree, like, what's not to love about Lego? It's fun. You can build it at any point in your life and have fun with it. Kids love it, but there's a lot of adults who take the hobby really seriously and build these amazing creations. I don't know if you've ever watched there's a show Lego Masters on Fox right now where some adults compete to build these massive creations. So there's at any entry point you want, you can enjoy it and have fun with it. So just
right. Even Pixel Bullets in the comment just said, "I love Lego." Who
Dude,
doesn't love Lego?
Who doesn't love Lego? It's amazing. And for me personally to grow up playing with this and have it be something that I'm so passionate about, to now actually be taking it more seriously. And this is a career. These jobs, these freelance jobs that I'm doing for them, is just a dream come true. So just to have that connection to it is great.
That's awesome. So I took a marketing class in college, and I remember the professor said something along the lines of, if you want to make a commercial that just nobody will hate, have a baby or a dog or some kind of like cat. And I think there's a third thing, and that would be Lego. Like,
yeah,
how can you watch a Lego commercial and be like, "Oh, this sucks"?
Yeah, like no one says that. No one watches a Lego commercial and is like, "Oh man, skip." Like it's fun stuff. It's I think everybody at some point in their lives has a Lego set, and like you can connect to that inner child that still loves to build stuff, or even if it's a random theme like Star Wars. To me, like growing up loving Star Wars, I'm linked, that hobby of mine and love for Star Wars is like directly linked with Lego, because those were the Star Wars toys that I played with growing up. So, for some people it's Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. They had Lord of the Rings Legos, so there's Lego for everybody, no matter what you like.
And so when you were a kid, did you ever like read the instructions, or did you actually like do what it told you to do, or did you just kind of freestyle it most of the time?
Oh man, I mean, I did everything. I still have mini sets. I mean, you can see. I don't know if you can see my shelf, like how many there are behind me, but I
They're
still
pretty
have
dope.
yeah, I've got a lot of sets from my childhood that are still built from the instructions. So I think for the most part, I would keep everything built as best I could. But yeah, I would love building my own stuff. And I remember, oh man, I think I was like 12, or like I was a young kid, and they have a Lego magazine where people can submit their own creations in the contest. And I remember one year I won the contest for like a fighter jet that I built, and that was like
No
the
way.
moment of my life up until that point. I was like, yes. But yeah, I mean, I don't build as much nowadays, just because like I've shifted now more to, can I make a film with that set? Then I don't need to buy it, or is that useful to me in making like an animation? And if it doesn't strike that requirement, then I usually don't buy it. But yeah, I still enjoy making my own films, and I've got so many like random video ideas that I haven't made yet that are coming soon, as everyone says.
Dude, yeah, I remember me and you have had many conversations about this coming soon thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of rappers are really bad about this, like local ones. And even filmmakers I know, they'll say like coming soon. They'll do all this like crazy promotion, like coming soon. They'll put out these vague things, and then like a year goes by, and you're like, I don't think that was soon at all.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually talking about this with a friend the other day, and I've done my best to try and, when it comes to like my personal projects, just not tell people what I'm working on, because I find that like when I tell people, it gives me a sense of gratification or like just pride. Oh, I've been affirmed that I'm what I'm doing is good, and I need to keep working on it. But if I just delay that and just work on it in silence, find it's better, at least for me, to just reveal something I've made instead of build people's expectations constantly. Oh, I'm gonna come out with a video soon. It's definitely hard though with animation, just because I'll be working on something for 3 months without telling anybody about it, and then not much to tell you about because I haven't made any progress. But it's something I definitely deal with myself. So
Yeah, I think I want my new rule to be, and I've definitely broken this rule a couple times in the past few months, is I'm not going to post any teasers or promotion unless what I've made is done and I know I can release it like that day. Because if I don't, then if that day comes by and like an export is too slow or render time is too slow or just something happens, then I'm just going to bum myself out and, whoever was looking forward to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
The two people that were looking forward to it.
Dude, I look forward to all your content, man. I'm waiting for it. I saw your music
thanks
today.
Nice. What'd you think?
It was awesome. Really, really well shot. So I loved all the shots.
Thanks. Yeah, my roommate Robert Peak, he is amazing. He just got the Blackmagic 4K like a couple months ago, and I was just like, this footage is beautiful. These sunshot shots, say that 5 times fast, were just like mind blowing to me. And I was like, it was just going like I can't even describe it whenever I first saw it, because like it was kind of guerrilla style. We just shot it and then we like moved to the next location. So as soon as he sent me those files on Google Drive, I immediately like pulled them up and I was like, yes, like this is exactly what I envisioned. This is exactly what I wanted. And then we edited it, added a little bit of grain, put some H to it, and it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, everybody go to Portable Trevor and watch his music video. It's awesome.
But hey, this is not about me. This is about Mr. Adam Nies here. So what am I doing? And Pixel Bullets, thank you. You're my oh my gosh, like I just became a Twitch affiliate and you're my first subscriber. That's awesome. Thank you. That's wild. I expect $5 next month. I don't even know how money works on Twitch. I'll probably get like 2 cents from it or something.
Yeah, I have no idea, but you got an audience, man. They watching.
Yeah, it's great, man. Oh, thank you. Like I agree. Tell all your friends to watch me. Oh yeah, Adam. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a whole comment section over here that you can watch.
Oh no, I don't have it pulled up. Maybe if you send it to me, I'll pull it up. But
I think you just go to the left and there's like a little thing on the right hand, or it's on my right hand side. I just click comments and then it pulls it up.
Oh, okay. Oh, there they are. Yeah. What's up?
Yeah. Hey.
Nice.
But yeah, dude. So going back to like filmmaking and just you creating. So, what was the first like non-Lego thing that you filmed?
Oh man, I mean, I've made a lot of random short films and videos throughout my life, so I can't even remember. But I remember making videos with people in high school and just really falling in love with that. And I made a film in college called Typecast. That was a lot of fun to make.
I was on that set. It was very fun.
Yes, you were. And I've been lucky enough to just work with a lot of different people who are really talented in what they do. People who are also film gurus in different areas and expertise. And I live in Atlanta now, and I work with a lot of other filmmakers and people, and just it's cool to be able to, for me, work on my Lego stuff and be paid to do that as a freelancer, and then take that money. And I also have other live action efforts and live action scripts that I'm working on, that I still want to keep making. So it's good to be in a place and in Atlanta where I'm connected with so many people like that.
Nice. And how do you feel about the Atlanta filmmaking scene? It's like blown up in the past couple of years, and
Yeah, I mean, currently on hold for the virus situation going on. So
yeah, for sure.
that's been rough. But I mean, it's a great place to be for people on the East Coast who want to get into working on sets and just learn how to work in the industry. And there's a huge indie scene as well, where everybody's always looking for people on sets to do different jobs. And I've met a ton of people in the last I think year and a half we've been here, maybe 2 years now, just who love what they do and want to get more experience. And it's a great place to be for that. It's not the most picturesque neighborhood around, but it's a great place for experience and work. That's for sure.
Nice. And so you're actually from Florida, right?
Yes. Originally.
So you drove. You went to school at the university that's in Cleveland, Tennessee, and so you drove up, and then you're kind of in the middle between Tennessee and Florida now.
Yep.
So what was that transition like for you?
Oh, well, I always thought I would live in Florida for my entire life, and I almost went to school at UCF in Orlando, and last minute decided, no, I want to go to Lee, and just felt really called and to go there, and felt like that was the best place for me. And I ended up working there for a couple of years in the media services department, doing video and film stuff with that group there after I graduated. And then now moved to Atlanta after working there. And it's great. I mean, I love being 6 hours from Florida. I think that, we're not going to be living in Atlanta for our entire lives, but I think me and my wife, but I think that it's great for where we are right now. And who knows where we'll end up. I would love to at some point be at a place in my career where I could do stuff like the stop motion stuff full time. And, it's something that I'm trying to achieve eventually. Made a lot of big strides the last 2 years to doing just more Lego work. And so we'll see where that goes. I am really hoping to do more. And if it leads me to work somewhere else, then, I'm open to that. So we'll see. Maybe I'll move to Denmark. We'll see. That's where Lego is.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, they're a Danish.
Would you actually do it?
I mean, I wouldn't mind. I think Denmark's awesome, and it'd be a cool place to live. We'll see. Who knows?
Would you move to the West Coast potentially, like in LA or anything?
I've thought about it a lot, and after leaving Lee in film school, me and my wife were really talking about, okay, should we go to Atlanta or should we go to LA? That's where Hollywood is, and that's where everything's happening. Which one do we choose? And LA is really far away, number one.
Very far away.
Just the cost of living is sky high. And being fresh out of college and only have worked for a few years, my wife's a teacher too. We didn't feel like it was the right time for us to move there. But I would, if the opportunities presented themselves, I'd be fine with moving there. Just if we had a job lined up, and but it's tough to get into the industry there. It's really cutthroat and takes a lot of hard work, many years to kind of break through that. And we looked at Atlanta and saw, this is not far from where we were. This is still on the East Coast, and it's a right to work state, so I could work on set here and easily find work. And so far, it's been great. So I love living here.
Dude, that's so awesome. And I've been talking to quite a few people about taking big leaps in life on my show, and I feel like you could give amazing thoughts and advice on that too. Like, I remember I talked to you before I moved to Atlanta. Do you remember that phone call?
Yeah, dude, you called me.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
talked.
I was probably like shaking. Like Nathan asked me to move here, and I was just stumbling. Like, do I do this? Like, I've lived here my whole life. Like, I can't just leave it all of a sudden. And
Yeah.
spoiler alert, I did. But I remember I talked to Adam for like an hour and a half one night, and um, you gave me some like solid advice. You were like, dude, like your situation sounds awesome, and you told me you thought I had what it took, and yeah, here I am almost a year later, and I feel like I'm doing
Yeah.
great. But like, what would you say to someone that's kind of like me, that was scared out of their mind to take the big leap, but you feel like maybe the reward is greater than the consequences?
Oh gosh, you're putting me on the spot here. I'm gonna take some kid who's watching this and send him in the wrong direction. No.
Yes, give them terrible advice. This is your opportunity.
All right. Well, I'm glad you moved here because I think it's you've been doing great in the last year and making lots of
Thanks.
cool content. So I think that for anybody who wants to work in film and do video, or even if it's not that, and you've got an opportunity that's a big change. I think that it's good to evaluate your options and look at what you have going on in both situations. But obviously, I took a risk in moving here too, and I think that it helps, when you have opportunities in the place that you're going to that is a surefire opportunity. So for me, I was able to make some connections with friends before who live in Atlanta before I moved here, who were able to get me work when I first got here. And for you, you had the same thing, friends who had established themselves and had made this great this house, the Kind Punk house, already there, and you guys had this group who you were going to. So I think that it helps alleviate the risk, to have a kind of a safety net already in place. But I definitely think that taking risks is it. I mean, it can be fun. It's good to take big risks in life and see where it pans out. I think that especially for you, you're talented and you have the skills. So I don't think you would have any trouble here. And
For anyone that's watching and you're coming from like nothing and you have nothing to come here to, please don't listen to me. I was extremely blessed, and I had an incredible opportunity. So maybe don't look up to me.
yeah. I mean, I think the one thing I'll add as I'm thinking and talking at the same time would,
Yeah, totally.
every opportunity, it takes a lot of hard work to build a career around film and video. And, before moving to Atlanta, I had done a lot of videos and a lot of projects, a lot of films, and, enough to build like a portfolio that I could show to people, say, here's my work. I had a freelance video company that I did commercials for local businesses. Like I'd done a lot of work, a lot of long nights. And, I think that it's important to say that any opportunity, if you just hope that everything pans out, it's not going to pan out. Like I think that it takes a lot of hard work to turn any opportunity into something that's worth it. So if you're willing to, that's the big thing.
Totally. And I know it's cliche and it's overdone, and people that are just desperate for advice probably are tired of hearing it. But really, like, if you work hard, like, you're going to see some results. It may take a couple of years, but I think it can happen if you just bite the bullet and, grit your teeth, like, and just keep going on it. For me, there were nights where I just didn't sleep and I just would work, and I'm sure you've experienced the same thing, but sometimes the reward is greater than the crap that you go through.
Yeah. And I mean, every project, like even for me now, I'm still, trying to make as much as possible. And when I'm done with a job, I'll start working on like a personal animation so that I can, keep honing my skills. And there's never an off period. Like you should always be, working on something, even if it's a personal project. So I think that'd be my biggest, just grind, the hustle. Yeah. I'm not, what's his name? The guy, Gary, whatever his name
Gary
is.
V.
This is my Gary Vaynerchuk moment right here.
Yeah, please take the stage, cuss like 60 times within 2 sentences.
You gotta hustle. You gotta hustle.
If I had a soundboard, I'd play like a beep, beep, beep.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. It's inspiration.
Totally inspiration. But yeah, man, so if anyone's like wanting to get into Lego animation, do you think like you need these extravagant sets that you have, or do you think you can just do it with 2 Lego minifigs and, you know, your bathroom background or whatever?
I mean, you said it. I mean, you really don't need much to get into this. And I mean, I definitely have invested a lot into gear and lighting and all that. But when it comes to just creating, you really just, if you've got some Lego and you've got a camera, there's, even if your phone, a lot of people, there's a lot of successful YouTubers who make Lego films with their phone, and they get millions of views and make a lot of money on YouTube. And they've got a lot less expensive gear than I do. But yeah, it's doable with, you know, any level of entry of, you know, price, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say. That's awkward.
No.
But anyways, you get it. I mean, I'm trying to say that you don't need all this fancy stuff. And I think there's, I forget the name of it, but Stop Motion Studio, I think, is one app. There's a lot of different stop motion apps that you can try, and lots of YouTube tutorials. I never went to school for this and never received any kind of formal quote unquote training for stop motion. I really just taught myself watching other people who are better than me, you know, just watching their animations and going frame by frame to see how they move their characters, and any tutorials I would, you know, eat those up. So yeah, it's super easy to get into. If you buy a $10 Lego set, you can make a movie.
That's awesome. So what does a normal average day look like for you?
Well, it depends. I mean, I'm a freelancer, so I'm working, usually juggling a couple projects at a time. Right now, I can't speak about what I'm doing, but I am working on a couple projects for this summer for Lego, which is really exciting.
I know what they are.
He knows what they are, but we can't say their names.
I know, it's okay. I'm not gonna. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Anyways, it's usually my day starts out and I'm doing either emails, just kind of coordinating production. Right now, I haven't officially started animating on the projects that I'm working on, so I've been kind of just working on scripts and approvals, and I'm going to be receiving some very cool sets very soon that I'm going to start animating. But I can tell you, I'm usually building sets like these trees. Some of the sets that I shoot with are really big and require a lot of hours to put together. So I'm working on those throughout the prep time to try and get them looking nice before I start animating. So,
dude, that's rad. So
yeah.
Adam, I don't want to put you on the spot right now, but
do it.
I'd love for you to do a little bit of a show and tell. Like, what can you like bring out one of your favorite like Lego pieces that you have?
Oh my gosh, let me look around me here. Bear with me as I look around.
Okay.
See. I mean, I can show you. Right now. This is an X-wing that I really love. So this is not my design, but this X-wing here was designed by a really cool Lego guy named Jarek, and I bought the instructions and the pieces and built it myself. So it's a little bit fragile, but it's got a really cool design to it. Let's see, what else? What can I show you? Of course, I could just turn my camera and show you my Lego closet. There's the Guardians of the Galaxy ship. Sure.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah, this is the iconic ship. I think it's called the Milano. I think it's a really cool design. Let's see. If you watch my Harry Potter video, here's the dragon from the Harry Potter video.
Oh, that's rad.
This was in last year's project that I did for Warner Brothers. And then, yeah, let me spin my camera around. I've got it on a USB cable and show you a little bit. All right.
Yeah, Adam's closet is insane.
You ready to see the skeletons in my closet?
Absolutely.
There we
Oh
go.
my gosh.
So I've got everything kind of organized, but you can see I've got a lot of bins and there's like random Lego sets on the floor, but every little bin here has got, like, there's all my minifigure heads in there. And then, yeah, I usually try to keep everything where it goes. Everything's in its own place so that if I need to build something, I can, you know, put it together even quicker.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
But
That's a
yeah.
good way to stay organized, because I feel like if you don't, then it's just going to be chaos.
Yeah, for sure. It took many, many hours to organize all this, but it makes creating and building sets so much easier. Just when I know exactly where, oh, you need a slope. What's a 1x2 slope? There's a bin for those. Pull that out, grab it. So
That's rad, man. So you said you're working on some more like live action films. Can you tell us at least like what kind of genre they are or what you're looking to do?
yeah, I mean, I have always loved filmmaking, and I have always I've always had projects in the iron, or scripts that I've been irons in the fire. That's the right way to say it.
Mhm.
I've always got a lot of those kind of in the back burner, just running. But I would love to direct action adventure movies. Obviously, I love Star Wars, love science fiction. I have written a couple scripts that are in that vein. I wrote a sci-fi adaptation just for fun of Galaga, because I always thought if anyone's going to adapt a movie, like you see all these arcade movies and people that are adapted video games into movies, why not someone try Galaga? That's space fighters, and it'd be fun. So that's a random script I wrote.
Can you do me a favor and make a good version of Pixels?
Oh my gosh, I haven't even. That movie's so bad.
I've not seen it either, but I'm just like, I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, geez. But anyways, I'd love to direct, kind of like comedies and just adventurous films. I've always been inspired by stuff like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, and stuff like also can't even remember. Yeah, but anyways, I love films, and I've always tried to keep working on things that are not Lego related. But I also have obviously a lot of films, Lego films that I've been working on. That's what currently, after I finish up with these jobs for them, I'll probably start working on another Lego film that I have going. That's just for me, just a passion project, kind of a film. So yeah.
We got a comment here. It says, so that's all made from Legos. And I'm guessing he's talking about your background. So most of that, yes.
All of these, yeah. Let me grab one of these. This is a TIE fighter. Let me see if. Yep, this is another Lego set here.
Have you used that in a film?
I have not yet used this one in a film, but I plan to. I've always wanted to do a stop motion short based on the Rogue Squadron games from the.
Ooh, that would be cool.
So I made this to eventually maybe use along with this X-wing that I showed earlier. But you got to have the TIE fighter and the X-wing just to make it.
We got another comment. Do you use glue on the permanent ones?
So I used to glue my sets when I was a kid, because I had a point where I was really afraid of them breaking. And actually, if you can see, this walker up here is glued. I have since not glued any sets because I find myself, whenever I'm making a job for Lego, I'll pick pieces that I need off of sets, and then I'll put them back later. I'll just walk around my room. Oh, there's a piece that I need, and grab it. But they do make a glue now, and this is not product placement. Where is this thing? Let me grab it. Here it is. They do make a glue now, and it's really interesting. It's called leg glue, and it's like a non-permanent glue that you can use on your sets, and then to dissolve it, you just put it in warm water, and you can take it apart again. So I'm gonna probably use this on a few sets that I want to keep displayed or, together for a couple of years. But yeah, Lego.
Nice. Have you ever built a set and right after you finish it, you were like, yes, finally, and then you like dropped it or something?
Oh man, I've dropped so many Lego sets. That moment where it like hits the floor and scatters everywhere, it's just the lifeblood drains from me. This walker, actually, speaking of the one up on the top of my shelf there, the reason it's glued is because that happened. I think one of my cats, I got that as like a birthday present when I was, I think, 16 or something. And one of my cats knocked it over. It just shattered everywhere. And I was like, that's never happening again. I must glue it. So it is glued because of that.
Has that happened while you were filming something?
While I've been filming something,
or doing a Lego animation at least?
I try to avoid that these days. Nothing has broken that far, thankfully. But I have had, it's one of the things with stop motion is that you have to keep the set and everything in the shot as still as possible, because when you're taking your frames, if you move anything, it'll show up and it's really distracting. So I'll try to keep everything solidly placed where it is, and I'll even use sticky tack. I use a lot of sticky tack to keep everything just firmly in place.
Nice. Pixel Bullet said creates Legos creations for fun, also has cats. Dude, that's brave.
Oh gosh, yeah. I have had a lot of problems with my cat. So
really,
yeah. So I usually, when I'm working on an animation, I close my door these days. I didn't used to, but I'll close my door and I'll bar the entrance and not let her in. But she sheds her hair, and single cat hair will sometimes find its way onto my set, and I will pay for it later because I won't notice it when I'm shooting. And then when I go to edit the film, I'll be like, there's a hair there, and it shows up.
Gosh.
So,
and since they're so tiny, like a big hair probably shows up pretty like inside.
I've had to take many many times I've had to, in post, edit out a hair strand that's made its way. But I will say, so I've gotten a lot better about it. Some of my fellow animators have made fun of me before for it, just jokingly. But nowadays I have a can of compressed air, and it just before every shot, and sometimes during the shot, I'll spray the whole table and my camera down to make sure to get any dust or hair off of the characters and the set, just to make it as clean as possible. So
that's crazy. What's the biggest thing? What's the biggest mistake that you've made that you didn't realize until you got into editing?
Oh, this is not the questions I thought I'd be asked. What are your biggest let me think. I've made a lot of them. I've learned a lot. I think that every time I sit down to animate, I'm like, all right, this is the time. A perfect animation. No hair, no dust. It's going to be great. And then there always ends up being one hair or some mistake. But I think I've had some. The biggest mistake I made probably was when I think I was doing a shot that lasted me like 5 hours. I had been working on it. Like this, it takes a long time. I had been working for 5 hours, and I decided I'm going to take a break. I've worked for 5 hours, and I've been sitting in this seat. I need to get some food. And as I stood up, I bumped the camera slightly, just enough to move it. Like I'm going to do it on my computer, like this much.
No.
And that shifts the entire shot, because we're doing such small scale things. And thankfully I was able to save the shot, but it's the tiniest mistake. Even if you shift the floor, like I have carpets in my floor. And so if I step wrong near the tripod, sometimes I can cause it to lean a certain way, like just a microscopic amount this way. And it'll show up. So stuff like that, you got to really work hard to avoid when you're doing animation. So.
All right. So give some tips right now to people that just tell me like 5 things that you should not do while you're animating, like such as like you don't shift the make sure you don't shift the camera, don't have hair. What's some other things that people should avoid?
The one of the big ones I see in like more amateur stop motions is lighting. So I don't know if you can see my windows here, but I have these blackout curtains.
Uh-huh.
If you don't totally block out all the light in your room and turn off all the lights, you'll get what's called like a flicker, like a light flicker. And because the outside light is always changing, so I think that avoiding light flicker is a big deal. And I see it happen a lot. When I animate, I just close off all the lights, close off all the windows, and just use my lights I'm shining at the table. So that would be the big one. Clean your sets, no hair. And then I think, most of it is just practice. And, a lot of tips I could give to animators is the concept of easing, ease in, ease out. And this is like an animation principle, not just for stop motion, but say you're throwing a punch, like a character is going to punch like somebody else. You're going to wind up. This is another animation principle, is a wind up to every gesture. Character is going to wind up their punch, and then as they throw their punch, they're going to throw it fast, but then they're going to slow down as the momentum slows. And in animation, that translates to, you take a picture of them winding up, and then when you're going to throw the punch, you do a picture of just moving a little bit, then moving a lot, and then moving a little bit. So then it'll look smooth. So I think that using that kind of easing to like small movements, slowing your momentum, is a big tip I would give to early animators who want to make it look smoother.
Nice. And we got another question here. This is actually my dad. Sup, Dad?
What's up?
What is the biggest Lego piece that you've built, and how long did it take, and how many pieces was there in the set?
Oh man, biggest Lego piece set that I've built for a video would probably be probably for the Harry Potter short that I did last year. I built a big. It was a set of the Forbidden Forest. I'd say that's probably the biggest set that I built, and I had all these details. It was a shot of Hagrid's hut, and it's a shot where the hut itself like rapidly builds up in front of the forest, and that took a long time to build because I had this background diorama with all these trees and forest and all these little details with leaves and the forest floor. I think it took me a couple days to get it looking good. I would say a total of like 8 hours to build, maybe 8 to 10 hours to build. The one thing too, and I'll specify this, when you're building sets for stop motion, a lot of the time you're only supposed to build what's visible inside the camera, because if it's not outside, if it's inside the lens and the camera can see it, I'll build something to fill that spot. But if it's outside the lens, then there's no reason to use extra bricks and time to make that look big. So yeah, a lot of the times you'll see, oh no, I know the biggest set I built. I can show you a picture of it. It was the Death Star for that Star Wars video. I remember.
Oh yeah. So did you build everything inside of it too, or did you just do the outside?
So remember what I said about like you build only what the camera sees?
Right.
That had a wide shot where you saw the Death Star chasm where Luke and Leia swing across. And so I was doing that scene. I had a wide shot, and let me pull that picture up. I can just pull it up and show you on my phone.
Okay, cool. And also, hey, Crazy Monkey, I see you. And yeah, I do have a Twitch.
Let me see here. Behind the scenes. So here's a picture of one of the sets. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I know. It's going to be when you see it. So here's one of the, I don't know if it'll focus.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I don't know if the camera's going to focus, but
I see.
this was one of the sets that I built, and you can watch this. The video is called Death Star Escape, and I built this really big set of the Death Star and Luke and Leia swinging across. And let me see if I've got any other pictures of it. Yeah, so I also did a behind the scenes video where you can see this set put together. So here's Luke and Leia. That's the minifigures, and this is the chasm that they swing across. So I had to build all these big walls in the Death Star. Yeah, and you can see this.
Let's pull that up. I think,
Yeah.
I think we have enough time. I mean, there's no time limit.
Yeah, it's in the behind the scenes on my YouTube channel.
Okay. Yeah, do you want to set this up, Adam, real quick?
Sure. So this Star Wars short was one of the two that I did for Lego last year, and they were like I think I explained this earlier, but they were iconic scenes as retold by kids. So it's like a kid's imagining this and telling this story. So you can skip the intro. There's a little intro bit here from me, but
Okay.
yeah, this was one of the. Oh, it looks pretty similar. Same shirt.
You are wearing the same shirt. So yeah, this is Adam's actual studio. I didn't get a wide shot of that last time in your behind the scenes, but like, look at how much is going on here. Like, just crazy. So got a little cool time lapse here. Wow. Those are all your storyboards.
Yep, all my shots I usually keep track of on my whiteboard. So
is it hard to animate somebody running to make it that look pretty real? And there's the Death Star shot you were talking about.
Yeah, there it is. So running, you do things called walk cycles and run cycles, and actually is one of the easier things to animate because when someone's running, it's just alternating your arms and your legs moving, and so you just have to repeat the same cycle of them moving their arms and their legs, and it's actually one of the easier things to animate. Here's all the visual effects. This is by Galen, the guy that I work with.
So you didn't animate those yourself, them exploding?
No, yeah. So he actually took 3D models and rendered them exploding and replaced the physical model just as the explosion starts with a 3D model. So
nice.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so rad.
It's so fun to work on this stuff, man. Like, you know, it's like watching it, it's like, oh, that's so cool. It's like, oh, but wait, I made that. And that's not to like toot my own horn or anything, but it's like, I'm a fan of this stuff. I watch a lot of Lego people online, and you know, it's cool to be able to do that too and work on this. So.
And you've been a Star Wars fan since you were a kid, right?
Yeah, my dad was a huge Star Wars fan, and I think that's how I got into it. But
me too.
I watched a lot of Star Wars growing up.
Yeah, I liked pretty much anything that was remotely like that. Star Wars. I loved Lord of the Rings growing up. Huge inspirations for pretty much the way that I think, and a lot of cartoons.
Yep.
And you're inspired by a lot of like you and I have talked about like Avatar: The Last Airbender and like sorts of incredible cartoons that have inspired both of us. What would you say is some like animated stuff that's inspired you?
Oh man, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, but I mean, Batman the Animated Series. I've been watching that recently.
So good.
It's so good. It's still amazing. I watched a lot of cartoons growing up that I feel like shaped my interest in certain things. So lots of superhero stuff like Justice League and Avatar. I didn't get into anime until a couple of years ago. I'd say in college is when I got into anime. But that's also been a big inspiration for me lately. So I'm currently watching Hunter x Hunter on Netflix.
Yeah, I've not gotten into a lot of anime. I've watched like Naruto and Dragon Ball, but that's about it.
Yeah. I think I started with shows like Attack on Titan and Sword Art Online. Those are the more kind of friendly shows for newcomers to anime, I think. But yeah, it's, I mean, really, cartoons. They're still cartoons, so I still watch them. Anything
One
and everything.
time, this guy wanted to hang out with me. He thought I was much more successful and big than I actually was. This was like way before I even moved to Atlanta. He was like, "Yeah, man, can I take you to Buffalo Wild Wings? I'll buy you like your meal." And I was like, "Sure." And so this is how the conversation went. I thought we were going to talk about like film and like how to get into it. This
Yeah.
dude, he talked to me 50% of the time was about film. The rest of it was about My Hero Academia. He explained to
Uh,
me the entire plot, and I was just like, "What am I doing here, man? Like, what was the point of this?" But I got a free meal out of it, so I guess that was something. I
oh
don't
my.
even know what that guy's doing now.
I mean, I would do that for a free dinner. I mean, that sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, like I was cool with it for about the first 5 minutes talking about it, and then after that, it just kind of changed to me like not even talking, just kind of like shaking my head, like cool. And I was waiting for him to shift it back into filmmaking, but
Yeah.
that's a whole
I feel like
free.
I've been in both of those positions, like listening to someone over explain their favorite show and also over explaining my favorite show to somebody who's not interested. So I can relate to that.
Yeah, the one I've done recently is I think I told you about that podcast S Town.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. I actually want to have my old high school English teacher on the show one day, and I would love to talk about that with him. But it's fantastic. But yeah, Adam. So a little bit over an hour, but this was a great show, dude. Like I had a lot of fun. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we close?
Oh, not really. This has been great. Thanks for having me. I mean, I feel honored to be on the Portable Trevor live stream. So I think the only thing I'll plug my YouTube channel again if anyone hasn't.
Yeah, go ahead.
But on YouTube, you can watch all my stop motion stuff, all my Lego stuff. It's youtube.com/antbandit. Ant Bandit is my username there. So feel free to look me up. I've got a website as well, antbandit.com. And yeah, if anyone's watching that wants to hire me to do a Lego short, welcome to email me. So I'm always looking for more work or stuff to anything Lego related is amazing for me to work on. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Adam's a great guy. If you don't hire him, you're dumb. Like he's a talented dude. He's like a Swiss Army man. He's got way too many skills, way more than I'll ever have. But yeah, thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching. And that concludes our show.
Oh, I'm gonna cringe so hard.